Hi, I'm Mark. This is Mark's Tech Vlogs on YouTube, and today I'm going to review the Kodak RCF-1013W Smart Picture Frame. Now, at the start of this video, I want to let you guys know that Kodak reached out to me and offered to send me this product to review. Now, it looks really interesting and I felt like it fitted in this channel, so I said yes. That means I haven't paid for this product. However, Kodak have no idea what I'm going to say until this review goes live. It's also not a paid review, so they're not paying me to make this video, they've just sent me this product for free. So I'm going to be completely honest about this product throughout this video. I do, however, know some of you guys like to know if I've paid for something or not. Now, this frame costs about £85 on Amazon, so it's not the most expensive product out there, but it's also not the cheapest smart photo frame either. I do, however, think the quality is pretty good and I do think it is worth the price. And it's actually the sort of price I would personally pay for something like this. In the box, you get the frame itself, you get a power cable, you get a USB-C cable, and you get a mount for the back of it. You can use that mount if you want it to be freestanding, but it also has holes on the back if you do want to attach it to a wall. So let's talk about the design. So this frame has a nice wood effect finish, and it's got the Kodak logo on the bottom. And then the screen is actually set into that frame. On the back, you've got the mechanics of the frame itself, which are in black plastic. There's a power button on the rear and space for that mount as well, which just screws in. On the right hand side, you've got a USB-A port, which allows you to connect something like a flash drive for more storage or for copying large video files. You've got a micro SD card slot, which can do the same, a headphone out for audio, USB for adding photos via a computer, and space for the power as well. That USB cable that's included is sort of like a chunkier micro SD card, and I have seen it before on older cameras. It's really odd that it's on this product being sold in 2025 rather than something like USB-C though. There's also a speaker on the rear. Overall, I like the design and I think the frame looks nice and modern from the front, but of course it is a little bit chunky. This is something you're going to notice more if you wall mount it rather than if you just have it freestanding. So let's talk about the spec. So firstly, it has 32GB internal memory, which is pretty big. You can also expand that with micro SD cards and it can take up to 64GB. The screen itself is a 1280 by 600 resolution display and it looks pretty good and is pretty bright. One thing you do notice is it does have a bit of glare and a bit of reflection when there's a lot of light in the room. This is something you notice more when you're looking at it close up. That screen is a 10.1-inch screen, so it's actually a really nice size for displaying photos. And then it has built-in Wi-Fi, which is used for receiving data such as the weather, but also for transferring photos via email or via the Kodak app. So let's talk about setup. So setup is pretty easy. You simply plug the frame in and follow the instructions on the screen. During that process, you'll connect it to your home Wi-Fi and you'll also set the language and the time zone. And during this, it becomes obvious that this is basically just an Android tablet with some custom software over the top. And this is pretty interesting for a product that's £75. All that aside, at this point during setup, you can also download the Kodak app. You can use that to add photos and videos to the frame straight from your phone. You can also add pictures to this frame using an email address, and the frame has its own unique email. You simply email a photo as an attachment, and in a few minutes the frame will pick it up if it's connected to Wi-Fi. The other really weird thing is if you try and transfer video from your iPhone, it has a maximum length of 15 seconds that you can transfer. That means you have to crop videos, but it can take larger videos. I have transferred a 25-minute video via a memory card. What this means, in my opinion, is that the option to add stuff via your phone is very much an afterthought and not something that's been thought out well. The best way to get photos onto this device is using a USB stick or a memory card. So let's talk about using it, which is what I've been doing for the last few weeks. So when you first turn it on, you'll be greeted with the welcome screen. This is where your photos cycle round, and then you can also see the weather, time, Wi-Fi status, and links to everything else. That screen is super bright and reasonably responsive when touching it. It's not as responsive as a tablet, but for adjusting settings, I think it's perfectly fine. You can use the links on that home screen to switch between album, music, video, calendar, weather, and settings. You can also set the screensaver to default to your photos, so it will effectively load your photos every time without you having to select a mode. Music mode plays any music that you've loaded locally to it, and to be honest, I don't think this is a feature that's needed. Those speakers aren't particularly good quality, and I don't think you're going to be using this to play music. The main place these speakers come into play is with video mode. Now, as I said, if you try and add a video from an iPhone, it's got to be 15 seconds or less, which is pretty weird. However, you can add a longer video via a memory card or a memory stick. Once you've got that connected, you can play straight off that device, or you can import it to the device. And again, the speakers are fine for just background audio, but you're not going to load a movie to this anytime soon. And then you have calendar mode, which shows the time and a calendar. You can actually click the dates, which suggests you should be able to add events or sync this up to something like a Google Calendar, but I cannot find a way to do this. However, if you do just want a tabletop calendar that maybe shows you the date and also a little photo on the side, you can set it to do this. Then there's weather, which gives you a big view of today and the next 2 days below it. You can also go into the search and find weather for other places beyond just the one that you set in the original settings. Then there's the settings section, and this is where you can just tweak everything. So you can see the QR code for accessing the app. You can set up Wi-Fi, you can customize settings like screensavers, languages, brightness, volume, and set auto sleep. The auto sleep feature means that you can set the frame to be off at certain times of day without you having to power it off. Then you've also got alarms, time zones, the option to email pictures to the device with a unique email, and then information about the storage on the device. And then the final feature to talk about is obviously the reason you're likely to buy one of these, and that's the photos option. And really, this should be treated as the main purpose of this device and everything else just a nice extra. And with the huge amount of memory packed into this, you can have tons of photos on this. And clicking photos, much like with video and music, will show you the upload history, allow you to loop by upload, loop everything, and just randomly play it all. When playing, you can press on a photo to view more information, you can crop it, you can delete it, and then you can also toggle more settings and resume playing as well. All in all, I think images and video look really good on that display. It's also a super bright display. But are there any downsides? And I've sort of hinted at this throughout this review, but in my opinion, most of the downsides are with the iPhone behavior. You have to select 10 at a time and import 10 and then 10 more. And videos have to be cropped to 15 seconds, which is just really weird. The other downside is that if you have this in a particular place where sunlight is going to reflect off of it, you will see a little bit of glare. But all in all, what's the verdict on this smart photo frame from Kodak? In using this, I think it's a really nice frame to look at. I think the quality of the display is really good, and all round for a price range, I think it's pretty good value. It's also got a lot of memory packed in, which is fantastic. Like I said, where it kind of lacks is in the process of adding photos from your phone. Adding via a memory stick or an SD card is much easier. And I guess initially the best way to set this up is going to be to add photos in that way, and then add them via the phone when you've took a photo out and about and you want to add a few more to it. So your phone becomes a way of maintaining it, but initially you set it up with a chunk of photos just from your memory stick or a memory card. All in all, however, I do think it's a really good photo frame and perhaps even a really good gift to give to someone, especially if you load it up with photos beforehand, which is what I'm going to do for my mum. If you've got any questions about it, do stick them below and I'll try and answer those for you. If you do want to pick one up, I'll put a link below, which will go to Amazon in whichever country you're in. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys again soon.